The first day of the Persian month of Ordibehesht is dedicated to honoring and celebrating the master of Persian eloquence, Saadi. He is rightly called Afṣaḥ al-Mutakallimīn, the most eloquent speaker and poet. Saadi is undoubtedly one of the 5 foremost poets of the Persian language, alongside Ferdowsi, Nezami, Rumi and Hafez. Some regard him as Iran's greatest poet, whose eloquence and literary beauty are unparalleled, and his prose and poetry are celebrated for their fluidity and charm. Saadi is perhaps the only poet whose words are described as Sali Momtane, a term that signifies deceptively simple yet inimitable. This unique quality of his poetry, which is so precise and effortless that it resembles fluid prose, sets him apart from other poets. Yet those who attempt to imitate his style in prose often find themselves overwhelmed by its underlying complexity. For instance, Jami in Baharistan, Majid Kafi in Rawzat al-Kold, Ka'ani in Parishan, Mirza Ibrahim Khan Tafreshi in Molistan, and Hakim Kasemi Kamani in Karistan sought to replicate Saadi's Golistan, but none could achieve what Saadi created. Saadi's mastery extends to lyric poetry, ghazals, ethical discourse, and practical mysticism. Except for Hafez, who is the most renowned lyric poet after Saadi, no one has been able to compose ghazals in Saadi's distinctive style. Similarly, no book on ethics and practical mysticism equals the timeless excellence of Saadi's Bustan. Sheikh Mosleh al-Din Mosharraf ibn Abdullah, known as Saadi of Shiraz, was born in 600 AH, circa 1203 to 1210 CE, or in Shiraz's first half of the 13th century. While the exact year of his birth is debated, prominent scholars like Zabihullah Safar and Mujtaba Minawi suggest 606 AH, 1209 CE. Saadi's father served in the administrative court of Atabek Said ibn Zangi, the ruler of Fars. Saadi's family was one of knowledge and learning, as reflected in his words. All my tribe were scholars of religion. Saadi lost his father during his youth. Following the advice of Atabek Saad, he went to Baghdad for higher education. He studied at the prestigious Nizamiyya School and other academic centres, benefiting greatly from the scholarships and support provided by the institution. During his stay in Baghdad, Saadi studied under notable scholars such as Sheikh Abul Faraj Jawzi and Sheikh Shihab al-Din Suhrawardi. While Shiraz remained largely untouched by Mongol invasions during this period, the city later experienced turmoil due to tribal incursions from northeastern Iran. Saadi described this chaotic period. The world is entangled like the hair of a Zangibari. After completing his studies, Saadi embarked on extensive travels, spending nearly 30 years journeying through various regions, including India, North Africa, and Rome. His travels, as documented in his works, included visits to the Hejaz, Damascus, Jerusalem, Tripoli, Aleppo, Basra, Alexandria, Kufa, and Kashgar. These travels not only enriched his understanding of different cultures and societies, but also provided him with a wealth of experiences and insights that he later incorporated into his literary works. After nearly 4 decades of exploration, Saadi returned to Shiraz, bringing a wealth of knowledge and experience. He compiled his moral, spiritual and social insights into 2 seminal works, Bustan, the Orchard, in 655 AH, 1257 CE, and Golistan, the Rose Garden, in 656 AH, 1258 CE. These 2 books, masterpieces of Persian literature, are treasures of ethical and social wisdom, offering profound guidance on how to live a better life. In Golistan, Saadi masterfully combines humour with moral advice, saying, "The bitter medicine of advice is blended with the honey of compassion, so that the weary soul may not be deprived of the blessing of acceptance." The Golistan, a paragon of Persian prose, consists of an introduction and 8 chapters written in rhythmic prose. Its short, anecdotal stories are rich with moral lessons. Saadi's use of rhythmic prose, sajid, likened to the cooing of a dove, remains unmatched in its elegance and brevity. captivating readers with its literary charm. Saadi's work often admonishes rulers and leaders, urging them toward compassion and justice. His extensive travels broadened his worldview, allowing him to think beyond the confines of Persia and envision a universal human fraternity. This vision is encapsulated in his famous verse, "The children of Adam are limbs of one body, for in creation they share a single essence." This verse adorns the entrance of the United Nations building in Geneva, symbolizing global solidarity and humanity. Saadi's ideal world is founded on justice and good governance. He believed that the progress of any government depended on its bond with the people. His works offer timeless guidance on leadership and statecraft, emphasizing virtues like compassion, fairness, and prudence. As the first day of Ordibehesht, April 21st, approaches, dedicated to commemorating the life and works of the illustrious Saadi, it is a fitting time to revisit one of the countless narratives of his journeys and reflections. In earlier discussions, we explored Saadi's profound insights into human nature, including his respect for women and understanding of their needs. Today, we turn our attention to an enthralling tale from his celebrated travels, recounted in Bustan. This story, spanning 80 verses from the book's 8th chapter, is a vivid account of Saadi's experience at the temple of Somnath. The tale begins with Saadi describing the temple and its famed idol. "I saw an ivory idol in Somnath, adorned as though it were the ancient deity Manat reborn." Saadi observes throngs of devotees journeying from distant lands to this temple, fervently beseeching the lifeless idol for their desires. Astonished by such devotion to an inanimate object, he wonders aloud, how can one worship a soulless, motionless being? Saadi shares his bewilderment with a temple worker, expecting a reasoned explanation. Instead, his words ignite hostility. "When I spoke, that friend turned into a foe. His fury burned bright, his wrath let loose to show." Word of Saadi's questioning spreads, and he soon finds himself confronted by an unfriendly crowd. The priests and elders glared with disdain, not a shred of goodwill in their domain. In this tense situation, Saadi resorts to tact and diplomacy to save himself. "Bereft of solutions, I chose courtesy, for patience and cunning seemed the only key." Feigning admiration for the idol, Saadi cleverly wins over the head priest. "I too am enchanted by this idol's grace, such beauty, such charm, none can displace." He claims ignorance of the region's customs, expressing a desire to join in the idol's veneration. His flattery appeases the priest, who invites him to stay overnight to witness the idol's divine powers. At dawn, the priest promises the idol will raise his hands in prayer to grant the devotee's wishes. That night, Saadi remains in the temple, uneasy but observant. As dawn breaks, a great multitude gathers their prayers and cries, filling the temple. Suddenly the idol's hands move, seemingly rising to the heavens. Saadi recounts how the head priest, now confident of his loyalty, smiles and gestures toward the idol. The priest, beaming, turned to me, confident I'd join their ecstasy. However, Saadi's sharp eyes uncover the truth behind the spectacle. Upon further investigation, he discovers a hidden mechanism, a temple worker pulling ropes to animate the idol's hands. Outraged by the deceit, Saadi takes swift action. "I exposed the trick for all to see, casting the deceiver into shame's deep sea." Reflecting on this experience, Saadi writes, "After this upheaval, I left for India, journeyed to Yemen, and finally reached Mecca. Yet the hardships of that path remain, a restless ache that lingers, a faint, haunting pain." Abu Muhammad, Muslih al-Din, known to the world as Saadi, is among the towering figures of Persian literature. Born in Shiraz around 1209 CE into a family of scholars, Saadi pursued his education in his hometown before continuing his studies at Baghdad's prestigious Nizamiyya School. At the Nizamiyya, my name spread wide, day and night. I studied with diligence as my guide. Saadi's thirst for knowledge and adventure led him to travel far and wide, to Hejaz, Syria, Lebanon, and even as far as Rome. I mingled with people of every kind. From each, I gleaned lessons to enrich my mind. After years of wandering, Saadi returned to Shiraz in 1257 CE, dedicating himself to writing. Here he composed his masterpieces, Bustan, the Orchard, and Golistan, the Rose Garden, earning him eternal renown. Even in his own time, Saadi was celebrated as a literary giant, receiving accolades from his peers, including the renowned poet Saif al-Din Muhammad Farghani. Yet, despite his fame, Saadi remained deeply reflective and humble. He begins Golistan with these poignant lines. One night I reflected on my fleeting days, regretting the hours wasted in trivial ways. Saadi's work spans moral allegories, ethical teachings, and spiritual reflections. Bustan and Golistan are treasures of Persian literature, offering insights into human nature, society, and the divine. His ghazals and qasidas further demonstrate his mastery of poetic form, blending elegance with profound emotion. Saadi's poetry is marked by its clarity, simplicity, and depth. Beneath its unassuming surface lies a wellspring of wisdom and artistry. At first glance, his verses seem effortlessly simple, yet their brilliance reveals the labor behind the ripple. Through his works, Saadi elevated Persian poetry to unparalleled heights, weaving profound insights into the fabric of accessible and relatable language. His ability to balance literary artistry with universal themes ensures continued relevance across generations and cultures. Saadi's words, like a gentle breeze, carry timeless truths with effortless ease. To this day, Saadi's legacy endures, not merely as a poet, but as a philosopher and sage whose insights transcend the boundaries of time and place. His works remain a mirror reflecting the essence of humanity, inspiring readers to seek wisdom, compassion, and understanding in their lives.
The king who harms a merchant passing by will see his lands and fortunes fade, not fly. For wisdom's dwellers will no longer stay, where fear and harm hold sway upon their way. A merchant's goodwill spreads from shore to shore, their praise of your just name grows evermore. So cherish the stranger, the guest, the envoy. Their blessings enrich what you seek to enjoy. A ruler's command must be just and wise, for treachery once sown will surely rise. Place trust in the honest, the God-fearing soul, for mischief from traitors can swallow you whole. If wealth blinds a man to his duty's call, his downfall will echo through justice's hall. When anger flares at a subject's sin, pause first before the punishment begins. For a ruby, once shattered, cannot be repaired. Cruelty breeds only grief and despair. Temper justice with patience and care, for forgiveness is far more rare. A wise ruler must test the hearts of men, raise the virtuous, and let the loyal ascend. Unchecked power corrupts the noblest mind, but justice leaves a legacy of its kind. A trusted servant, faithful to their vow, is worth more than riches kingdoms allow. Two of the same ilk, when left to conspire, may stoke the flames of deceit's fire. The thief and the guard, if placed side by side, will corrupt the peace where honesty died. Do not let your trust too freely, for betrayal may hide in those you know. If a sinner seeks refuge beneath your throne, show mercy, make compassion your own. They truly do not crush at first fault. They guide the errant with wisdom's vault. But if their repentance proves shallow and vain, then justice must cleanse the stain. Do not rush to punish a guilty deed, for haste may sow regret's dark seed. Let patience weigh what anger distorts. Justice delayed often offers more support. A wicked tree is felled at the root, but be sure of its nature before pursuit. A traveler may carry wisdom's wealth, cherish their stories, and nurture their health. A just host treats strangers as kin, winning blessings for the world within. But guard against those who seek to betray. For some, it brings ruin along the way. A wise king listens to the voice of the sage, heeding advice that strengthens his age. For governance thrives on intellect's might, not solely on wealth or a warrior's fight. A kingdom ruled by wisdom and care grows fruitful and exceedingly rare. A servant who serves with honesty and pride is a treasure no fortune can override. Their loyalty outlasts deceit's dark hour and shields the kingdom from treachery's power. But test their virtues before granting rank, for the trust misplaced turns loyalty blank. The kings of old are buried and gone. What remains of their deeds is their name alone. If you seek to be remembered for long, build your legacy on justice and song. For a palace will crumble, a treasure decay, but a noble name shines beyond its day. Do not let whispers turn you against the loyal ones who have no defense. For enemies craft tales with guile to sow discord and ruin with a smile. Before you believe, ensure the truth, lest falsehood harms the innocent youth. A ruler who governs with cruelty and pride will see their reign falter and justice denied. For kindness is the foundation of rule, while arrogance makes a wise king a fool. Be generous in spirit, yet firm in your stand, so peace and order may guide your hand. Saadi's poetry in Bustan reflects timeless wisdom about leadership, justice, mercy, and human behavior. His words encourage rulers to govern pretty, individuals to act with integrity, and societies to value kindness and hospitality.